Mahesh Jetmalani joins us from Mumbai. T.R. Adhya Rujina is joining us from Delhi. Thank you very much, sirs. And my first question is to Soli Sorabji, former Attorney General. Mr. Sorabji, now, you know, this is a unique situation, right? If there is only a condemnation, say a one-day condemnation, and then no action is taken against Mamata Banerjee, will that be appropriate if she's allowed to get away with it?
It's not a question of getting away. First question is, was it in the Assembly?
Yeah.
In that case, she has immunity under the article of the Constitution. For anything said in the Assembly, no court proceedings will lie. But frankly, to my mind, it would be unwise to institute contempt proceedings because she'll defy them and she'll have the halo of a martyr. Best thing is to condemn the statement as irresponsible, baseless, not based on any facts. And if she is so agreed by the judgment of the State Commission, which is headed by a very independent judge, retired Judge Ganguly, who gave judgments against the government even when he was in Supreme Court, then an appeal lies to the National Commission. That is how a head of a state should behave. This is completely unbecoming. In fact, it shows a little unbalance. And what I'm afraid is, this really shows the mindset, intolerance. She cannot be questioned, her actions cannot be challenged, her actions cannot be tested by any court and pronounced to be illegal. That's the more worrying part.
Yeah.
But frankly, I think it would be unwise to institute contempt proceedings. There will be all question about immunity under Article 212. Condemn the statements, treat them as the contempt they deserve, and let that be.
Yeah. People are thinking about what has led to her sudden outburst, and one of the views are that, Mr. Adhya Rujina, I want to put this to you, that she's very upset after the Singur judgment. The West Bengal government moved the court. The judgment has not gone its way. Then there is today a State Human Rights Commission which says pay compensation to the professor who you arrested for emailing a cartoon. So she's very angry and hung up with the whole judicial system. But she's the same lady, Mr. Adhya Rujina, who put...
appeal?
Yeah, yes, she can go and appeal. But yes, Mr. Sorabji?
To the National Commission?
Yes, she can. But she's not doing that. My question to Mr. Adhya Rujina is, Soli Sorabji says filing a contempt case against her will make her a martyr. However, sir, the Constitution provides certain privileges to people in Assembly. In this case, the Assembly was not in session.
Yeah, you see, the point is, I think she was very badly advised. She was advised to say all these things on the ground that since she is speaking in the building of the Legislative Assembly, she is immune from any action against her. Yeah. Now, this is totally incorrect. The Constitution says there is an immunity to anything which is said in the course of a legislative debate or in the course of a legislative proceeding. So she has been completely wrongly advised, and with impunity she has said these things. Now, there is no doubt about the fact that this is for the first time in all our 56 years of independence that anybody has attacked the judiciary as a whole, bringing the whole judiciary into disrepute. Therefore, it's a very, very serious thing. What we lawyers call, she has scandalized the judiciary. Therefore, it is appropriate that we must show our reaction to this. Now, it may be one way of doing it is to take actual contempt proceedings against her. But that may not be well advised because ultimately it becomes a matter of contest in the court. It's far better that we should have a public debate and responsible persons, journalists, bar associations, bodies of judiciary, the public opinion should stand up and say this is intolerable. That's a far better way of bringing her into control and to criticizing her, rather than to take contempt proceedings in a court of law, which becomes very acrimonious, long drawn, etc.
Yes, and a bit of self-interest also the issue comes up here, because she says judicial commissions achieve nothing. Now, she has herself set up so many judicial commissions. Mr. Mahesh Jetmalani, that's another point, isn't it, Mr. Jetmalani, that she has set up umpteen judicial commissions into all kinds of incidents, killing of tribal people, the AMRI case, other incidents of violence. She sets up a judicial commission. Now she says judicial commissions don't achieve anything. Are you seeing a certain pattern here, or is she just trying to grab the headlines once again?
Well, I don't want to read Mamata Banerjee's mind, but there does seem to be an element of frustration with the judiciary, and hence probably the outpouring in the legislature today. But coming back to what is the remedy for all this, the article which deals with Parliament Assembly privilege and members says statements made in the legislature. Now, it may or may not cover, I mean, it is moot whether it covers statements made in the legislature when the legislature is not in session. That's point number one. Point number two is, I think that maybe perhaps there's an element of overreaction. We all condemn what she said. If indeed she meant to denigrate the judiciary as an institution.
No.
But on a careful reading of her words, it seems to suggest that she's saying that there are some bad elements in the judiciary.
No, she,
in as much as she says that certain judgments that she
you're
can
being
be
very forgiving.
But I don't think that she meant to say the.
I'm saying you're being very forgiving because, Mr. Jetmalani, 1 minute, I want to go back to... because she's not making a comment on a particular case or judgment. She is making a sweeping statement which any other citizen makes, Mr. Sorabji, would be seen as a sweeping statement painting the entire judiciary as potentially evil.
No, so sorry, Arnab, before you take that anywhere else, let me just respond to that. I don't think that she has tarnished the entire judiciary. She said that judgments can be bought. Now, perhaps there are a few bad, rotten apples in the judiciary, and we all know they are, particularly in the lower judiciary. Nobody said that this exists in the higher judiciary, except the odd exception. And perhaps to give her the benefit of the doubt, which is what I say, that even contempt proceedings may not only be misconceived because of the question of privilege, but also because her words can be given a beneficent construction so far as she is concerned.
One second, I want to on that point. See, the one other point is...
But let me finish. Arnab, you can interrupt when I finish. And finally, I agree with both Mr. Sorabji and Mr. Banerjee that indeed this is imprudent. There are better ways of dealing with it than the reaction which may be misconceived of filing criminal proceedings or contempt proceedings in a court.
Yeah, I am understanding where you're coming from, Mahesh. But, let's go into a little bit of technicality, right? Now, privileges, Mr. Sorabji, provide immunity to Mamata Banerjee for her comments made on the floor of the State Assembly. Now, importantly, yesterday's event, the Assembly is not in session. It's a statement made, but it's not when the Assembly is in session. So, does she enjoy any privileges for that?
If that's a factual position, then that privilege immunity won't apply.
Exactly.
But Arnab, the whole thing is, let's look at it from a holistic point of view. After all, what do we want? We want such statements to be condemned as a responsible basis by public opinion, informed public opinion of people who have credibility, rather than initiate contempt proceedings, go into the question whether legislature was in session. And what I fear is, if she is convicted of contempt, well, which should be, if she has no immunity, she'll come after the martyr. She said, the people, look, I took the judges on, and this is what they do. It's no use. The trouble with the lady is she's just intolerant. She can't take anyone making a cartoon, criticizing her. A man says, ask her a question, oh, he's a Maoist. And that sort of thing. So deal with it. Our sense should not be go overboard in dealing with a person of a chief minister of a kind. Let's take action which is proportionate and which really condemn her at the bar of informed, intelligent public opinion.
What about those who say... what about those who say, Mr. Banerjee, in conclusion, that rather than look at what she says, look upon what Mamata Banerjee says as a constructive, a constructive comment made for introspection, which must be looked at in that context. That's the kind of reaction we had from some people.
No, I don't agree with that at all.
Mr. Sorabji rubbishes that.
I don't agree with that at all. She is on the contrary said, charge me with contempt, charge me with defamation.
Yeah, she's saying that.
She knows exactly what she said.
Yeah, she's pushing that. Mr. Banerjee.
May I say this, that there can be no question of a constructive criticism. She is entitled
Yeah.
to say that a particular judgment is wrong, outrageous, anything like that.
Wrong.
We'll accept that. And nobody can say that she's wrong there. But you cannot condemn the judiciary as a whole for taking bribes. That's what she has said.
Yeah.
All judgments, she says, are being
Not all.
for the exchange of money.
Not all.
So, well, she has said judgments are being delivered.
Yeah.
Judgments are being delivered on exchange of money. She hasn't identified any particular judgment, and she is not saying that a judgment is wrong. She is condemning the judiciary as a whole, which is a very, very dangerous thing, because people's faith in the judiciary
Of course.
is then totally lost by these sort of remarks coming from the head of a state, which is a very dangerous thing.
I think
Yes.
I'm very grateful.
Quite right.
I'm very grateful to Mr. Sorabji, Mr. Adyarojina and Mr. Jetpalani for throwing light on this position today. Let me say in the conclusion, the reason we brought this up for debate, gentlemen, is because there is concern about whether the same rules which apply to all Indians apply to Mamata Banerjee or not. I thank you for your perspective, and we'll take your suggestion of having a bigger debate on this in the future. Happy Independence Day, gentlemen, and thank you for joining me on Newshour tonight. That brings me to the end Newshour this evening.